the time has come. I've been kind of putting it off for a long time, but I've got this old Walksnail system that I don't fly anymore in my, in my Flywoo LR4, and it's time to upgrade it. I've got an O4 Pro that's branded, via Flywoo. They just took it out of the package and rebranded it and sold it. So I've got that. But I've also got a couple other goodies. So basically, this old system isn't going to fit the O4 Pro. So shout out to Journey FPV because he posted something and shared a link to Flywoo's page to get a frame. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to pull the guts out of this and then frame it with the new frame system. I did come with the black TPU, but I did grab some purple. So that's going to kind of spice it up with the black frame and some purple. I do have these props. I think I have some red props, but I went ahead and picked up some green props because I think it's going to look cool with the purple and the black. So we'll see how that looks in a little bit. I also picked up a new battery. It's a lithium-ion pack, so 3,000 milliamps with it. So this will be my second battery that I have of this, and it's pretty strong. Like when you have it on this airframe, I feel like for a lithium-ion, it's very strong. So set that to the side. Let's get to disassembling and reassembling. All right, so like I was saying, it does have Walksnail in it, and I don't fly that anymore. I'm mainly flying DJI. So I'll just keep these either for, I don't know, project for one of my kids or something, because I do still have the Walksnail original goggles, and I'm not going to get rid of those anytime soon just because I'm just going to keep them. So first off, I need to remove these. It's a 1.5 millimeter hex that you're going to need to start pulling these screws out. And I'm just curious how much of this frame is the same or different. So before I start pulling things out, I'm kind of interested in, let's set this just like that for now. Let's just pull the frame pieces out and see what we're working with, because again, I'm curious what's the same and what's different. Man, that is super light. Oh, already I can tell that's different. Yeah, that's not the same carbon fiber at all. That is extremely light. So I guess this is going to be a brand new build in a way. So we will just go with what they've designed. Oh yeah, that that's way different. Yeah, way different. So that's obviously completely different. That's similar. Yeah, that's pretty, maybe, I don't know. It's different carbon fiber for sure. And these arms are different as well. I can tell it's different design. So yeah, we're gonna have to just take everything off, everything apart, and just reconstruct this. So yeah, let me start unpackaging pieces and figuring out how to put this together. Yeah, I've always got Jello from this flight system, so it's not just an O4 Pro problem, probably just this frame. I always got really crappy footage, so I kind of got just pushed away from this drone and used other ones that I built. Anyway, so one thing I'm going to do too, which I didn't mention, is I have this Flywoo X30 waterproof spray. Once I get this board out, I'm going to give it some sprays and see if I can just get a good coat on it. I failed to mention, I did find some instructions, which is great, because I was kind of sitting here scratching my head for a minute. It does give you an overall guide. Yeah, I can just start to put things together based on the colors. Yeah, okay. Let me start getting parts out and start putting the frame together. All right, so this may be difficult to do completely on camera, but so I've got my plate flat down, I've got my legs lined up, and I've got these just little aluminum things, I don't know what to call them, they're in the hole. So what I'm gonna do is just work on one side at a time. So I'm gonna get the arm in here, this guy on top of here, meet him in the hole like that, and then drive it on in. There we go. I'm not doing it completely tight because I want to be able to still move it if I need to get it into a better position. Let's go ahead and do the second one. Here we go. Bring this back. All right, so now I've got arm 2, but let's try to get them lined up together. There we go. There we go. Now they're married up together. Boom, like that. That seems to be all right for the time being. All right, we're getting the back leg mounted now. So let's go ahead and twist this into the right position. Hold itself better in the right spot. And then the last leg, we'll meet that one like that. Perfect. We've got our little button here. And now it's a little bit easier since the frame's together to get this in there. Alright, there we are. So now those down a little bit harder. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to stare at this a little bit longer and figure out what's the next step, because I don't necessarily want to take this apart yet. I can use it as reference because it's mostly the same, but there does look to be some new stuff surrounding the way the camera's mounted here, with all these dampening balls and how it installs here. There's a few little tiny things it's asking about for the front here, so trying to figure some of this out still. Alright, so I've started the deconstruction part of the old drone, and it looks like with the air unit they soldered it to the board, so I have to remove that one more step closer. So next I will start to, I guess, unmount the motors and everything. Alright, now I'm just working my way around each motor and removing motor screws. So far I've got everything pretty much disconnected, flight controllers free floating, and got everything pretty much unplugged or disconnected it needs to be, and I'm just removing the motors one at a time. It'll be free to move over to the new frame. So as you can see, now I've got everything disconnected and I can get an idea. So this one has little bolts in there. So I'm going to set this to the side and then continue by mounting this on the new frame. Alright, now that I've got everything apart and off of the old quad, I'm going to go ahead and spray these components with this X30 waterproof spray. And I did put a little piece of electrical tape over the barometer just to kind of protect that. Okay. So that side looks good. Do that side one more time, make sure everything's coated. Cool. Alright, let that dry for a minute. Alright, little update, because I've kind of been on a roll here. I've got my motors kind of mounted just with one screw right now. I've got the O4 Pro not mounted but kind of set to be mounted. I've got the antenna ran, and I think I'm gonna have to unplug this and then just run it up through one of these holes. Alright, putting the last motor screw in. We'll flip it over and take a look how things are looking. So let's go ahead and get this guy in here now. This is the buzzer. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so now I've got the front camera mount on with the antenna. We'll see how things are looking. Still haven't got this back GPS plugged in, but we'll handle that in a little bit. This purple is looking pretty sweet right now, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll keep going and I'll show where the progress is next. I've got the O4 Pro mounted in. I've got the flight controller mounted in. Everything is routed appropriately. I'm going to get this in just a minute. But what I'm dealing with right now is just figuring out how the O4 mounts to this gummy system. So I can kind of give you a little bit of viewpoint of how this works. But you're going to want to get these little gummies with the round part go into this recessed hole so you can see, but the flat side goes forward is what it looks like, and this is going to be on the inside, so we're going to stuff this in through here, which is kind of the challenge, but once you get it in, there we go. Okay, got that one in there. And we want it facing up. So you want this little tiny hole, which you probably can't see. Want that facing up. Because there's another plate that goes on it. And again, we're going to do the flat side. So here's the second plate, and it just kind of sticks in this little hole here, like so. Yep, just like that. I think next I'm going to mount this down, but I'm kind of dry fitting these. And the bottom one does the same thing. It fits in this little hole in here. This is going to be tough as well. Come on, get in there. Almost there. Boom. Okay, got that one in. And this one goes straight. Alright, so I'm going to take this one off though for the time being. And this one's going to sit over here, because basically I need to mount the camera on this thing here, these camera mounts. I need to mount it there, and then everything else can kind of go around it. Making progress here. I've got the O4 Pro mounted on its soft mount. It was a bit tricky, but if you can see this, there's some grooves that these side plates need to mount into. And next I'm going to have to, I think, screw these in. Sorry, my kid's in here playing a game, but yeah, I've got everything mounted on here, and the next step is to get this top plate mounted on and the side screws mounted on. There's some screws I think I need to put in here. Looks like we got everything together here. Let me take this off really quick. So the O4 cable was fairly long, so I've wrapped it around the posts here. I've got my O4 camera mounted in its vibration housing or mounts, whatever you want to call it. So it looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and mount the top plate on, and these little grooves go in there. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, I think I got her complete. Here's what she looks like. The purple TPU, the yellow props, the new battery, the O4 Pro mounted on there. So next is just to do a hover test, make sure everything looks good, and yeah, flight test tomorrow. Alright, we're going to do our hover test, so let's see what goes on here. Let's go ahead and do a hover test. Alright, it looks good.